So you are doing now. Okay, fine.
Yes, thank you.
So now, Moses means the person who was taken out of waters. Okay. Then he became a leader. Then he led the people from Egypt to Canaan. So one of the great dialogue, you see that let my people go. So he speaks to Pharaoh, let my people go. Okay. So okay, we'll go ahead with the presentation. Next slide, please. Hello. Next slide, please. Okay, so first there are 40 chapters are there in Exodus. First 11 chapters are enslavement and oppression. Okay, so then chapter 12 to 18 we see deliverance and covenant. From 19 to 40, the covenant at Sinai. Okay, so the 10 commandments and all, we find in chapter 20 onwards. Okay, so this is what we can see the outline of this the book of Exodus. So first one chapters actually teaches the growth and oppression of Israel in Egypt. First two chapters we see how actually they were oppressed and how they actually grown in outnumbers. Okay, and chapter 2 we see that the birth and early life of Moses. The birth, when we see that actually Moses actually came from Levite background. He became a in the first second chapter we see that the Levite person went to marry a Levite woman, and then so you see the tribal the practices, though they are actually in a foreign land, though they are actually uh, they actually follow the tribal rules and regulations of that uh, 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 how they actually so Levite man went to uh, marry a Levite woman, and then they were actually, we can see the God's the unwritten law. Uh, so chapter 3 we see the call of Moses, and chapter 11 to 4 to 11 we see the Moses return to Egypt and confirmation with confrontation with Pharaoh. So then he brings out the people, the Passover and the Exodus that started from 12th chapter onwards. 12th and 13 and 14 we see that Passover and the Exodus. Okay. 15th chapter, the Song of Triumph and the journey to Mount Sinai. Okay. And 15 to 17, provisions and murmurings at Mara and Elim. Okay, so they're very happy when they were leaving Egypt, but when it comes to Mara, the mountain and that place, actually they were murmuring, and they thought it's they feel that it is not good to come out of Egypt, and we were crying here like that. They thought they were murmuring against Moses and also God. Okay, so chapter 17, victory over Amalek and Rephidim. Chapter 18, Jethro's visit and recognition of Israel's leadership. Okay, so at that time there is a leadership crisis. Moses could not able to handle all the problems of challenges of Israel. And then Jethro's visits, and he actually uh, made judges over 50, 100, and like that. Okay, so finally they come to Moses. So that's how actually up to chapter 18 we see that deliverance and covenant. Okay, so chapter 19 to 20, what we are going to see, God's descent upon Mount Sinai and the covenant promise. The covenant comes out. Moses mediation of the covenant and additional laws were given, 20 to 24. So in addition to 10 commandments, many other additional laws were given. Okay, so 25 to 31, the renewal of the covenant and preparation for the tabernacle. So this is very important. After the covenant, they started, building the tabernacle. Okay, the golden calf. So at that time, just before when though the tabernacle was there, so that people actually they in their mind, the images of Egypt were there in their minds, and it was not gone away from their minds. Okay, so they started the golden calf. They prepared a golden calf instant and restoration of the covenant. So again they restored the covenant. So this is how from 19 to 40 the covenant at Sinai was given. Okay. From 25 to 30 we see instructions for the construction of the tabernacle and its furnishings. So then they started constructing the tabernacle according to the guidelines, actually the measurements given to them. Okay, so we were going to see this is today's class is very brief. Route map of the Exodus we'll see here. Okay, left side Egypt is there, right side Canaan, the promised land is there, Dead Sea and Canaan. You just see this, the map. In Egypt, you see the the river Nile, okay, and the delta of the Nile. Okay, so Nile was actually divided into three parts. Okay, it is coming from south to north, and there are three parts actually here, and the delta. Okay, where in the middle of the delta, Ramses, a place called Ramses. This Ramses is actually the capital of Egypt. Okay, at the time of Moses, Ramses is the capital of Egypt. That's what we need to understand here. Okay, so from there actually they started. Okay, and why from Ramses? Because Moses actually encountered Pharaoh there. Okay, Pharaoh was living in Ramses, and Pharaoh is in palace, and Moses actually confronted with him, and from there, you see all the diseases that came on Israel people, and finally the Pharaoh actually accepts the request of Moses, and he allow Israel people to go. Okay, so then the people all over, those actually all over the Egypt, maybe probably they are in Ramses, because in Egypt, Ramses, the palaces they were actually building, and all the people came out of Ramses and other places. Actually, they started from there, and they came to Sukkot. You can see the down, Ramses down, Sukkot is there. From there, Etham. Okay, so then they cross the Red Sea here. Okay, so okay, so here in this place, actually they cross the Red Sea. Okay, so Red Sea is like, this is like a lake. It's a very big lake. They actually crossed here, and then they came to Mara. Okay, so uh, here the bitter water actually turned into a sweet water. The miracle happened here. Then they came to Elim. In these places, actually they murmured against Moses. They were actually they were not happy with Moses. They felt that coming out of Egypt was a wrong decision for them. We stayed there in Egypt. At least we may have our lives, and we may existed uh, as people there. Though we are in slavery, at least we able to live there. Okay, but we came into the wilderness of Paran. Okay, so they came to wilderness of Paran, and there, Elim and Mara, that place is actually, they actually rebelled against Moses. Moses was not happy with them. Then, uh, so from there, they actually moved to Mount Sinai. Okay, so they came down to Mount Sinai, and from there they stayed for a long period there, and they were given covenant here. Okay, then we are going to see, and Hazroth, and here what happened? The leadership crisis came here. So till then, Aaron and Miriam and Moses, so they traveled together and they were happy. But when it comes to uh, Hazroth, Miriam and Aaron spoke against Moses. Okay, so and then from there, actually, they traveled many travel Kadesh and Barnea. Okay, so they came to Kadesh and Barnea. So from here, actually, Moses sent 12 spies to see Canaan. Okay, the promised land. So from here, they camped, and they stayed here, and these 12 uh, spies went to invade to see the Canaan. 10 people came out and they gave a negative report to Moses, but 2 people, Caleb and we'll see, Joshua, these 2 people actually, they gave a positive report to Moses. Okay, so they started from here. Actually, the negative report is they're actually uh, Canaan was very good land. Actually, the people who are staying there is like giants. We are not able to fight against with them like that. Okay, so but Joshua and Caleb came and they gave very good report that the land is very fertile land, and everything is so good. People also uh, the very actually the very established people are living there. Very moderate and modern people are staying there. But with God's help, we can able to uh, fight against them like that. That is the report actually uh, Joshua and Caleb gave to Moses. From there, actually, they started. They came back to south region again. Ezion Geber they came. From there, they went to Edom, Moab, Mount Nebo, and Bashar. From there, they came down to Canaan. So the Dead Sea. All Israel actually from Dead Sea at the south, and the Bashar is on the top. Okay. This is what the small the place actually the land of Canaan. Nowadays Palestine, Israel and Palestine. Now uh, now the fighting uh, against Hamas and Gaza. Okay, this is a small land. This land actually in between Asia Minor uh, from Egypt. That means to uh, from Egypt, not Egypt. What they say? Uh, so African countries from African continent, Asian continent, and also European. This is the center point of these three continents. Okay, so that's why this land is very important for any people. Okay, so for last 200 years, actually, this land was actually controlled by uh, this Arab, Arab people there. So when Israel wanted to establish as a nation here in 1943, 48, actually they were not happy because the land in political situation of the land actually is very important for any people. Okay, so they will have lots of money, lots of that the tax for for the travel and everything will get from here. So that's why they don't want to give this land to Israel. For that matter, any people, Arabs don't want to give to the any people this land. So, but miraculously in 1943, again, Israel people came back and they established themselves here in uh, the land of Canaan. Okay, this is the story. This is the travel actually we see from uh, from the land of Egypt to the land of Canaan. Okay, so actually you can see the straight, they go straight way from the desert of Kadesh Barnea. Okay, uh, they can just in 27 days they can they travel. They can able to travel from Ramses to Canaan. Okay, 47 days, hardly 1 month they can able to travel. But it took 40 years for them to travel from Ramses to Canaan. When they started, the generation which actually they started was not there when actually they entered Canaan, except two people, that is uh, Joshua and Caleb. Okay, even Moses also couldn't enter Canaan. So that's what we need to understand. Okay. It took 40 years. They settled different places. They camped different places. They stayed for maybe 1 year, 2 years, or 3 years in that places. And sometimes we could see that uh, the people around were not allowing them to travel all along their way. So that's why they stayed for the permission, or they stayed to war against that people, like that. It took them years. And during this 40 years, the spiritual formation just happened. Okay, so the spiritual formation is like, giving covenant to them. God made a covenant with Abraham, but the written covenant actually given to Moses. Okay, so Moses plays a very vital role uh, in recording God's covenant for the people of Israel. That's what we need to understand. Okay, so and other laws and tabernacle, establishing tabernacle, God's presence is there in tabernacle and everything that we see here. So that's what uh, Exodus actually plays a very major role to understand the history of Israel, the formation of Israel. Okay, okay. I think you understand this one, this map. Okay, if you understand this map, then the whole book of Exodus is there in your mind. Okay, right. The main themes in this book, we are going to see the main themes. I think I have, there are many themes are there, but only I think 5 or 7 themes actually I'm presenting here. Redemption and deliverance. Okay. So deliverance has happened from Egypt to Canaan. Exodus is a powerful story of liberation and freedom. Okay. So whenever you are speaking about freedom, whenever you are speaking anywhere in the world, liberation. Okay. So people actually, they refer to Israelites' exodus from Egypt. Okay. So that's what the powerful story of liberation and freedom. See, the similar stories maybe happened in different places on this earth. Okay. So now you see, the people of Gaza actually leaving the place from Gaza, in lakhs of people are. Now in Afghanistan, I think 17 lakhs of Pakistani other people actually they are moving out of their land. That's also an exodus for them. If you can see the story of the people in Afghanistan. So like this, the people actually from outside they came and settled here in Egypt, and again because of the political situations, again they started from that place to the place where actually looking for their own land, where actually they can have their own freedom. Okay, so Exodus is a powerful story of liberation and freedom. The Israelites enslaved in Egypt and delivered by God's mighty hand, demonstrating his power to rescue his people from oppression. So, see, this redemption and deliverance. See, there are many books were written, the movies were actually taken. Okay, so I think, when I was from 20 years back, maybe 25 years back, when I was a young boy, that time I saw uh, uh, Ten Commandments, the movie about Ten Commandments. Another story, another movie, that's Oscar-winning movie that's called Ben-Hur. So there is I think recent movie, maybe a few years back, another movie came like a Hollywood movie, The Gods of Egypt. Okay, so this Gods of Egypt actually uh, morely concentrates God speaking to Moses. Okay, how God speaking to Moses. The title actually, you could first I thought maybe this is like a some uh, something not to watch like that. I thought this movie, but I was a little bit curious to the uh, Egyptian gods, how actually what the movie is actually telling. Uh, then I thought actually how Moses actually fought against the gods of Moses, gods of Egypt, with the power of God. Okay, every time how God actually speaks to Moses. That was actually highlighted in this movie. It was really wonderful. If you could able to see, can able to see, you can watch that movie. It's really good. So God's mighty hand that actually liberated people of Israel from Egypt. It is not Moses or somebody, but it is God who actually uh, liberated them. Okay. So, but Moses, in his obedience to God, he was like an instrument in the hands of God. You can see, Moses, the humble story of Moses, how he was actually humble, day by day when he was walking with God, how humble he himself, his leadership and his personality. It's really wonderful personality that we can able to see in Moses. Okay, so we can learn that lessons. Second theme, second most important theme, covenant and relationship with God. Okay, so the central theme of Exodus is the covenant, a binding agreement between God and his people. Covenant means writing an agreement between two people. Who are the two people? God and his people. Okay, so at Mount Sinai, God establishes the terms of his covenant, outlining the laws and expectations for their relationship. So if there is a relationship between God and people, and that relationship should be based on something. Okay, based on God's personality. Okay, so God is holy. These people expected to be holy. So, okay, so God is love, and they are expected to be, loving people. And so that's how through this covenant, God wanted to establish a nation which in fact will be a blessing to all other nations. Okay, that's what actually we need to see. Next, divine intervention and miracles. Okay, we'll see, how many miracles God did, not only in Egypt, but also throughout their journey in Exodus. We see, many miracles. Exodus is filled with miraculous events that highlights God's power and intervention in human affairs. The plagues, the parting of the Red Sea, and the provisions of manna will all point to God's direct involvement in the Israel's journey. Okay. So how actually directly he involved in Israel's journey. In the daytime as a cloud, the nighttime as a cloud of fire. Okay. God instructed them to travel. Okay. So that's how. Next is leadership and guidance. Okay. Moses emerges as a pivotal figure in Exodus, leading the Israelites out of Egypt and serving as their mediator with God. Okay. So his leadership highlights the importance of human agency in God's plan. Okay, so wonderful leader, Moses, leading lakhs of people as per the instruction of God, God's plan. Leading those many people is not a joke. Okay, so, but and the people actually uh, one said there are challenges, leadership challenges are there. The other side, you don't know where actually exact place he was going. He was just step by step the things were revealed to him, and he was taking to them as per the God's plan. Okay, so and in every step, actually Moses takes the guidance of God. So that's beauty between Moses' relationship with God and how actually he uh, looked into God in every area of his life, in every step. Okay, so that's what we see another theme as a leadership and guidance. Testing faith and testing and faith. Okay. So throughout their journey, Israelites faced numerous challenges that test God's faith and obedience to God. Okay. So because of food, because of protection, and many things like and their idolatry, their imagery of God, and the idols of Israel still there in their mind. The ideology actually the new God is giving them a new ideology through the covenant, but their minds are actually filled with Egyptian gods and lifestyle. Okay, their murmuring, idolatry, lack of trust in God demonstrate the human struggle to fulfill and embrace the covenant relationship. Okay, so that's what we see here. Uh, then holiness and separation. Exodus emphasizes God's holiness and his desire for a distinct and separated people. So, uh, so you see the covenant. One of the main things they're actually separated people from all over the other people, like circumstances and physically, so they do it because they're actually a separated, a set apart people. They're set apart for God. Okay, so they set apart for God for holiness. Okay, the laws and the regulations given to Israelites at Mount Sinai was aimed to set them apart from the surrounding nations and establish holy community. So this is God's idea, God's desire for them to establish them as a holy community. So I think I gave 5 themes. There are a few other themes also there, like a family and others also there. In Genesis also, we saw the themes about family and all. Here also we'll see how uh, Joshua and other people, and even Moses, uh, their families, how actually they committed to God. Okay? So the book of Exodus continues to restore it, the people of faith today, offering profound insight into the nature of God, human relationships, and the enduring power of redemption. Even even today, the people are in poverty, people are in slavery, people are in profound needs, actually. But in all countries, like in India, uh, I work with an organization called IGM, International Justice Mission, IGM. During my internship in philosophical studies, my bachelor's of divinity, I was part of IGM for some time. So IGM was actually working among bonded labor and also trafficked people, women and the prostitutes and other traffic people, they were actually working with them, redeeming them, bringing out of their slavery. Okay. So the book of Exodus actually is still fresh to us. And we as a God's people need to involve in redemption. Okay. Redemption of sharing gospel to the people, and also bring justice to the people. Okay. To those who are in need, those who are in poverty, those who are in uh, uh, they were actually uh, in, in need. Okay. So our faith actually offers the profound insights into nature of God. And that's how our action actually brings our relationship with God actually enable us to make us to be an instrument like Moses. God wanted to use in our times as Moses. So that's how actually our relationship with God and our relationship with our fellow uh, communities, how it actually works. We need to examine ourselves. Okay? So the book of Exodus is actually one of the wonderful book to study, do a lot of research, and also to teaching to the church. Okay, so there's a lot of many lessons we learn from Exodus, book of Exodus. So this is the uh, question I'm giving you as an assignment question. How the construction of a tabernacle serves as a tangible expression of God's presence among His people. Actually, the construction of the instructions of the tabernacle also actually I included into this themes, but I thought maybe you can do the assignment. Uh, you can please uh, go through the any information. Uh, just see construction of the tabernacle. So first you write how it is, the measurements and what are the instructions given to build the tabernacle. And after that, what is the expression of God's presence among the people? How actually people can see God through tabernacle. Okay, so this is what we are going to write. Assignment. Thank you. I think